Before we get started on the tutorial, I'd like to introduce today's sponsor, the Doll Apothecary. Currently, they have a line of doll-scale fabrics for Halloween. These fabrics are uniquely suited for smaller dolls, like the dolls featured in this tutorial. Pretty soon, there will be another collection of fabrics for sale, so please consider following them on Etsy if you're interested in fabrics specifically made with your doll in mind. Hi guys, welcome to Creative 404. My name is Alexandra and today we're going to make a jumpsuit for a Blythe doll. Like always, you can find the pattern in the description box below. It is absolutely free. Feel free to download the pattern, cut it out, and let's get started. First, we're going to need the pattern pieces. Then we're going to need your fabric of choice. I've decided on this beautiful fabric that I found at my local Joann store. We are going to take the pattern. I've also got a pencil and we're going to cut it out of this fabric. I'm going to do that off camera and I'll be right back. So I've cut the pieces out of my fabric. There are 2 pieces of each mirroring each piece, so you have to cut on the fold or on the so that the fabric is right sides together or wrong sides together. As long as you have mirrored images of each, you should be fine. I have also created the inner piece of, I've also traced the inner piece of my pattern so that I have an indication of where I'm going to sew so I can get the best possible fit. I've done it to all the pieces here, and that is how I get the fabric to look as nice as possible. So for your first step, I'm going to move these pieces aside and show you the front pieces. So we have the front top and the front bottom. And we are going to sew the top to the bottom to each front side. So these are going to be right sides together. We're going to sew across the top where the line I've indicated. And then we should have 2 front pieces. We are also going to do the same to the back pieces. So this is just putting the tops to the bottom. It's very simple. We have the back pieces here. We are going to sew the top to the back. So the top piece to the bottom piece for the back and the top piece to the bottom piece for the front. We're just going to put these top pieces to the bottom. Now we have the top pieces sewn to the bottom. This will give you a beautiful empire waist looking design. You can use contrasting fabrics if you'd like. It would look really nice if you do, but I decided to just use full fabrics and just have a nice seam where the empire waist lays. I will probably make another pattern future on where it doesn't have the empire waist, but for now I have the beautiful empire waist. I am really excited about it. I'm going to put the back pieces aside for a moment, and I'm going to look at these front pieces. I'm going to sew the front pieces together and get this middle seam right here. So this piece right here, we're going to sew from here to here. So now I have the front seam nicely pressed and sewn together. So now you have the front piece all together. So you have the top to the bottom, and then you have the full front piece with the middle going on. What you're going to need is your lining for the front piece, and I've decided to use the same fabric for my lining, but you can use a different fabric if you choose. I'm going to sew along this top portion for the inner portion of the neck hole. So now I have pressed open the neckline for the front, so it's nice and done. We're also going to do this, we're going to set this aside and we're going to do the back. The back also has some lining that we need to attach. Now you could sew it together in a different way, but I like this way because it's a little bit more simpler. So we are going to sew along the scoop of the neck for the back, and then we're going to also do the back side seam here, or the middle seam. It's just a little piece right there. So we're going to do the scoop and the back on each of these pieces here. So now we have the back pieces all pressed with the lining attached. This piece is a little bit, yeah, that goes like this. So this is nicely done. So we have the back pieces and the front pieces. We are going to sew the shoulder part now. This is a nice way of doing lining because you don't have to turn in the seams from the shoulders. You can just attach them like so. I'm going to sew this piece and this piece. So now you have the shoulders done for your jumpsuit. Now we're going to do the sleeves, and you're going to put this aside. Your main piece is going to be put aside. You're going to do your sleeves. You're going to hem up the top first, or the bottom actually. We're going to hem this up and sew along the hemline. You're going to do this for both pieces. I'm going to iron it and then sew it up. Okay, so I have hemmed up the sleeves, and now I am going to add them onto the main piece here. And what I've done is I've clipped the pieces around the curve of the shoulder, and I can't remember which piece goes where, but the one with the long side, I believe, goes in the front. No, it's the short side goes in the front. So the short side goes into the front, and then the long side of your sleeve, because there's a piece that's a little bit longer than the front. So you're going to make it so that the short side is going to be facing the front and the long side is going to be facing the back. So we sew it like this. I am going to hand sew mine because this is a very tricky piece. So I'm just going to do a running stitch across the pieces here, and I'll be right back. So I've gone ahead and sewn the sleeves onto the main portion of my sewing fabric. I didn't realize my sleeves were going to be so small, but that's fine. This is just my first run at the fabric. I might give you an option of having a long sleeve or something a little bit nicer than this short cap sleeve that I had developed. I'm using some new software that I'm trying to, get the kinks out. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the right sides together, and then with the right sides together, we're going to sew along the side of your fabric. So both sides. So what I've done is here's the front, and then I'm taking the back pieces and folding it to the top, and we're going to sew this side. So I've sewn along the side edges, and I did a press of my bottom hems of my pants. I'm going to go ahead and sew the hems of the pants now. Now that you have the hems of the pants all sewn up, we are going to do the back seam right here. Now we're just going to go up towards this piece here, which this is where your button is going to be. So we're just going to sew up and then stop right here at the corner. Now I have the back portion sewn. I'm going to open up the pants and do the inseam, which is along the inside of the thighs or the legs. So I'm just going to press these open and then sew along here, which is the inseam. Now we're almost done. Now all that we have to do is turn them right sides out. So I'm just going to stick my finger in here, scrunch up this particular piece, and pull it out. I have these tweezers which help greatly with pulling out small pieces. Okay, now that we have turned it right sides out, we have to do the back, which the back is now open, but you need to add a little snap. So we're going to add a snap up here and then a snap down here so that it closes nicely against the doll. And here is the doll in the jumpsuit. It is really cute. I love the little princess line or the empire line. I think it looks great. It's a little bit it should have been brought down just a little bit more to go right below the bust line, but that's fine. It looks really cute. It's very form-fitting. She's going to be able to do her activities. This is going to be like a little PJs. So this is my PJ tutorial. I think jumpsuits make the best PJs ever because they're so comfortable. She's in there. I put the snaps on here, so they have snaps. It's nice. I love it. And I will show you her in a little diorama and how she looks all together.